Trinity Grade 4 Speech and Drama. First, I'll be forming an extract from the book The Travels of Polo, The Dark Prophecy. I had not been stormed so badly since my guitar contest against Chuck Berry in 1957. As Kate and Mikey kicked me, I curled into a ball trying to protect my ribs and head. The pain was intolerable. I retched and shuddered, blacked out and came to. My vision swimming with red splotches. Because got tired of kicking me, they hit me over the head with a bag of garbage, which burst and covered me in coffee grounds and moldy fruit peels. Finally, they stepped away, breathing heavily. Rough hands patted me down and took my wallet. Looky here, Kate said. Some cash and an ID for Lester Papadopoulos. He laughed. Lester? That's even worse than Apollo. I touched my nose, which felt roughly the size and texture of a butterbread mattress. My fingers came away glistening red. Blood, I muttered. That's not possible. It's very possible, Lester, Kate said, crouching next to me. And there might be more blood. You care to explain why you don't have a credit card. But I'd hate to think I did all that stomping for just $100. I did not have blood. I was a god. And when I'd been turned mortal before, golden ichor still ran through my veins. So converted. It must be a mistake, a trick, something. I tried to get up, but I slipped on a banana peel and I fell. Next, I'll be forming a poem called Dinosaur Love by Harry Baker. I want to say I love you, but it seems it's not enough. Because when people say I love you, it can mean a lot of stuff. Like, I'll always have your back, but I'm glad I'm not alone. To be honest, I'll say anything so you'll hang up on the phone. Because I'm kind of in the middle of something right now, and these Dr. Who box sets aren't gonna watch themselves. I want to say I love you, but it seems it's not enough. Because when people say I love you, it can mean a lot of stuff. And all I'm really trying to say is, roar! I want to love you like a T-Rex. With a tiny brain but a massive heart. And if I was a T-Rex, I could hold you in my T-Rex arms and protect you from harm. Because that is dinosaur love. It's the way you send spines down my spine like a stegosaurus. Well, how just like dinosaurs, no one can before us because we've got that love so big it cannot be ignored. Like when you're with a dinosaur, everything else seems secondary. Dinosaurs are not mythical creatures, they're legendary. It's very, very cool. The thing with dinosaurs is they actually existed. Yes, my love is real. I ain't talking blindly walking streams like Theseus. That's Minotaur love. When this is dinosaur love. This ain't no damsel in distress trapped princess dragon slaying quest because one, dragons never happened. And two, most women don't need rescuing. Feminist dinosaurs. This is less prancing unicorns, more two-ton triceratops, or terrifying pterodactyls staring terrors from above. This is dinosaur love. Molten rocket, meteoric. Trust me, I've got that love so old school it's prehistoric. And if you're into Spielberg with a classic vibe, you could watch Jurassic Park, Jurassic 5. And if if you want a bone, I know a place where we could see him. I'm a lifetime member of the Natural History Museum. I want to say I love it, but that might be awkward. So instead, I'm happy to let that stay in my head where it cannot go wrong. Because as time goes on, and my love goes extinct as you'd expect, I'd rather that we remain friends and exes. But against all odds, if my dino love is so colossal that it stays perfectly preserved like a fossil, then one day, when you're left in ruins and need someone to excavate through them, it won't take an archaeological expert to point you towards me. But you are like a brachiosaurus, because there is no one above you. And I'll say, roar! Thank you. Now, I'll perform the third piece from Merchant of Venice. To bait fish with all. If it will feed nothing else, it will feed my revenge. He had disgraced me and skinned 500,000. Laughed at my losses, mocked my gains, scorned my nation, thwarted my bargains, fooled my friends, hated my enemies, and what's his reason? I am a Jew? Had not passions. We not fed with the same food, the same weapons, subject to the same diseases, healed by the same means, warmed and cooled by the same winter and summer a Christian is. If you prick us, do we not bleed? If you tickle us, do we not laugh? If you poison us, do we not die? If you wrong us, shall we not revenge? If, a Jew, if we were like you in the rest, we shall resemble you in that. If a Jew wrong a Christian, what is his humility? Revenge. If a Christian wrong a Jew, then what should his sufferings be by Christian example? Why? Revenge! The villainy you teach me, I shall execute. And it shall go hard, but I shall better the instruction. Now I do the on-site reading. The Confession of R.C. Lupin by Maurice Leblanc. And a great surprise overcame him. By his side stood a woman dressed in black, with a lace shawl over her head, covering part of her face. And the woman, as far as he could judge, was of a young and graceful stature. Who are you? He repeated. You must come now, said the woman. There's no time to lose. Can I? Asked Lupin, in a desperate effort. I doubt if I have the strength. Drink this. She poured some milk into a cup, and as she handed it to him, her lace opened, leaving the face uncovered. You? He stammered. It's you. It's you who were. And in amazement at this woman whose features presented so striking a resemblance to the boy Gabriel, whose delicate, regular face had the same pallor, whose mouth wore the same hard forbidding expression. No sister could have so great a likeness to her brother. There was not a doubt possible. They were one and the same person. And without believing for a moment that Gabriel had concealed himself in women's clothes, Lupin had the distinct impression that it was a woman standing beside him, and that the boy who pursued him with his hatred, struck with the dagger, was indeed this woman. You, he repeated. Who would have suspected? She emptied the contents of a small bottle into the cup. Drink this, she said. He hesitated, thinking of poison. She added, you don't understand. It was me who saved you. Thank you. Now I'll answer the questions. Um, so the first question is how the character or the narrator's feelings change through one of my pieces. And I'd like to talk about the piece I did from my prose, from the Trials of Polo. You can see that in the beginning, the narrator is more concerned with what the two attackers are doing to him. You can see him saying that he is in incredible pain, and he is basically describing the scenery around him. But as it goes on and he discovers that he's actually bleeding, he's in shock that he has blood and he's been turned so mortal. And you can see this. I tried to show this through how he does not pay heed to any of the characters at the end, and he's just very determined or very focused on the blood that's come out, and he's just staring at his fingers. Plus, he starts off with a tone of worry, and he feels very sad about himself because he's getting beaten up, he can't really do anything about it. And then by the end of it, he's just convinced that he has a purpose, and he's determined to find out why he's been turned mortal. And he's more concerned about that fact rather than the people who are attacking him. The next question. What do I consider to be the funniest or most dramatic moment in one of my pieces? And what vocal or physical skills did I use to show that to the audience? Now over here I'd like to talk about the poem. The poem generally had a very funny tone, it was very light-hearted. And I did show that because through my tone I tried to laugh in the middle, I tried to increase the pace, build up till the crescendo, and then when I was trying to deliver specific lines, whether it be I want to say I love you but that might be awkward, or or when we have the main roar part, which is just a way to show dinosaur love, and that's a funny part to the audience. So building up the crescendos till there, having the pace up, and then whenever there are metaphors or jokes back to back that are ingrained in with the whole concept of dinosaur love, I try to put them one after another and have the speed a little faster so that it hits the audience and really, and it has more of an impact then. Um, as far as body language goes, whenever I was talking to the audience, I tried to act as though I was in the place of someone who's actually confessing their love. I tried to keep it very open-handed and large and majestic in resemblance with the whole concept of dinosaurs being so legendary. And finally, how my performance is different from each other and how did I show that to the audience. So the first piece, the Rose, was a more worrisome piece. It had a very nervous and it had a very nervous tone. I tried to show that through both my body language, where I tried to scrunch down whenever I was getting beaten up, and I tried to keep my tone also very slow to show that I am trying to recover or I am in pain. So that's for the first piece. The second piece was the poem, which, as I discussed, was funny. It was light-hearted, and it took on the more amusing part. And I tried to show that with by incorporating it into my tone, keeping it a very light-hearted and engaging tone, and communicating with the audience themselves, and saying the lines that are addressed to the person the narrator loves or the author loves to the audience, to keep them engaged and keep it funny and address the jokes to them. And finally, the last piece was in a very angry tone, and Shylock is basically very angry as to what the character has done and the way he's been asked to spare him. And I tried to communicate that through my own tone, where I tried to speak louder and I tried to communicate that anger and show the emotion of the character. Whenever I was talking about the character, I addressed it to the side, and then whenever there were hard hitting lines where if you poison us, do we not die? Or whenever there are comparisons like those, I addressed it straight to the audience to make them realize that they're the ones being questioned, they're the ones who the impact is, or who it's meant to impact the most. So um, that's it.